What is up, my lovely people in Blue Tablet land? So for today's video, guys, I'm going to be drawing you this cool, dancey looking skeleton. And if that's something you guys are into, stick around and let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw this oval shape over here. That's going to represent his first eye. And then this odd shaped triangle to show where his nose would be. And another oval shape for his eye. Let's do that again. And ta-da! There's another one. So right at this point, you can probably tell it's a skeleton. And I'll start out by drawing this dome shape for his head. And I kind of figured at this point, instead of doing the whole actual skull with the actual jaw, I just keep him with just the top part of his skull, so to give it that cartoony kind of look, and not going for anything realistic. Drawing skeletons or skulls is something that I've really enjoyed over a long period of time, and that's kind of the theme of my other channel. If anybody's interested, the channel is called Blue Cranium, and over there I pretty much just do everything to do with skulls, skeletons, not just human skeletons, probably animals and everything in between. And the whole purpose of that channel is just to share my love for the whole anatomy and drawing skeletons in general. So I kind of thought I'd just throw that in there. So for this skeleton, I kind of wanted to keep him simple and not get carried away, because usually when I draw skeletons or if I draw skulls, I kind of overdo it, or not overdo it, but I kind of get carried away in the aspect of I have to put as much detail as I can into illustrating it. And I kind of had to remind myself that when I was making this video that, keep it simple so that people that are following along can draw along and, just have fun with the whole drawing process and all that. So, what was I gonna say? But yeah, drawing skeletons, as I said, I've already said this before, I've enjoyed drawing it. And I don't know, something about skeletons to me is very entertaining, very relaxing. And it just is the universal aspect of what they bring to the table, and and the whole thing of life after death and all that fun stuff. Now for this part of drawing the hands, I kind of wanted to keep it as simple as possible, because I know there's so many bones that go into the whole formation of the hand. And if you look at a realistic drawing or a skeleton hand drawing, there's so many bones and how they interact with each other. So keeping that in mind, I figured just draw these little rectangular cubical shapes, so that way that would signify that these are fingers. And for somebody that's just starting out or has not been drawing hands long enough, so be fairly simple to follow along. The human skeleton, I think personally, is a very interesting object or character to draw, because besides just the hands, there are so many other aspects of the skeleton that have so many intersecting points going on. When you think about the rib cage, and then when you think about the actual backbone, that by itself is kind of cool, because I kind of remember back in art school, we had a project where we had to draw the human skeleton. And the breakthrough project, or not breakthrough project, what I meant to say was the build-off project, or assignment that our professor told us, was he kind of wanted us to pick an individual part of the human skeleton and create some sort of original character or a species or something just abstract, just based on the part of the skeleton body that we were assigned. So for me, I kind of got assigned the hand. And what is cool is I took that hand and I kind of made it look like some sort of a mutated creature like from another dimension or something from outer space. So I think that was a cool part of the assignment, because not only did it get you to think in a different aspect of the hand, it was interesting because every other person in the class kind of drew out their own version of their body part or skeleton part that they were assigned. And there was a student in the class that took the backbone and actually converted that into a centipede, which was kind of cool. And there were so many other cool things that everybody else had done, just thinking about just the human skeleton as the base of it all. The fun part about digital is you can erase any mistake and go over it and correct it, as opposed to drawing with a pencil that kind of leaves an indent in the paper. So that's kind of my favorite part about it. And here we have the foot now, which is another intricate part of the human skeleton. And I kind of wanted to keep it really simple and not get too much into detail. So I kind of drew out my version of what I thought would be a simple foot to draw. And if you guys feel this a little complicated, you can just go ahead and omit this completely and just draw a shoe. And you can just make it seem like your skeleton has got this cool pair of shoes and he's just tap dancing or just having a fun time. So I just went ahead and completed the rest of this skeleton. And what else? I actually wanted to accessorize the skeleton and kind of give him like some sort of like a band or a ankle bracelet or something. But then I was like, you know what, it might get a little bit too complicated and people might be like, what type of skeleton has these accessories? But that was my thought process, because that's kind of what I do for my other channel. Like, when I draw skeletons, I always accessorize them and make them look all cool, and it's not just the bony creature that you see usually. I kind of always make it a point to give them some sort of cool eyes. And then for some of them I dress them up in clothes, so I pretty much just treat them like as if they were still alive. So now for the details, what I did was I went ahead and reduced the pencil tip down to about 10 and just kind of followed around the eyes over here. And doing the details, is really up to you and how you want your skull to look, or the skeleton. And I'm just doing random line work. Oh yeah, I don't know why the hell I can never speak when I'm recording, and I always seem to eat up all my words. But anyway, I just drew the lines in random spots here, obviously to make the teeth kind of look like they've got some sort of aging and time going on. And do some more lines over here for the neck bones. And this again was just something extra that I did, and some little spots over here to show some age to the actual skull. And again, just draw some more lines. You can really do anything you want with your skeleton. These are just suggestions of what I was doing at the time when I was illustrating this. And the whole point of these lines is just to show some sort of texture for the bones. Because, when you look at bones, they're not smooth or not, don't have that smooth finish. They have some sort of a textured finish. So, being this is the Halloween themed drawings, I figured I'd give the skull some sort of texture. And I think I may have said texture way too many times. But yeah, just drawing some lines and giving the skeleton some more character. Because I was trying to actually give it more jazz and add some more detail, because skeletons are usually white when you decide to color them. So I was trying to think at this point, what colors am I going to choose, because it already looks white over here, but what you're actually seeing is just the background kind of showing through. So That's why I kind of gave it more of these or more of the line work. And now I think I'm gonna start some shading or coloring. So what I did was, since the background was already white, I kind of took it down and made it kind of like a grayish background. And I chose to go with a beige color for the skull or the entire skeleton, not white, because the white would kind of look way too bright. So you see, this kind of looks more of, it's got more of a realistic color that an actual real life skeleton would have. And personally, I think this shade of color is nice because it's not too overwhelming. Because when you look at a white skeleton on a dark background, it's kind of really bright when you're looking at it on a display. So I figured this would be a nice in-between color. And you got to enjoy the tap and go when it comes to dropping color. I mean, can you imagine if you could just tap and go on a traditional piece of art? I mean, how quickly your coloring would go. And just having to, sometimes why the display kind of looks a little lighter in some aspects when you're coloring. So now let's start with the shading. So for this, what I did was, which I've done in my other ones, if you have not heard those before or not heard my explanation, this is what I do. We'll go ahead and select the line art that I do and then make it a clipping mask. Turn down the opacity to about 30, maybe 40, depending on the illustration. And here's where the magic happens. So it automatically creates a shadow of the color that's underneath. And the reason it looks like there's a shadow being created is because you're turning down the opacity of the color. So it's almost like as if you were looking through the color, or almost has like a glass kind of a look to it. So the good part about shading this way is if you ever decide you want to change out the color, and it's not just for this illustration, it's pretty much any illustration you do, you can actually go ahead and change out the flat color to anything you want it to be, and the shading that you've done on the clipping mask would automatically transfer onto the new color that you do choose. I don't know if I've ever done a demo or shown what that means in actually looking at it, but maybe I might in a later video if it's just something where I'm just showing some shading, and then maybe I might actually show it to you guys in an actual video as to what I was talking about. But this is just a quick explanation as to what I was doing for the shadow part. And then here, I mean, obviously I'm just coloring it manually in, which is just something I chose to do. I could also use the selection tool over here and then make the exact same shadow and then just drop in the color and then just kind of go over it with the pen as I'm doing over here. So again, doing the manual shading over here too. And there are so many different techniques when it comes to shading, and because the whole point of these videos is to keep them fairly simple, not completely beginner friendly, but not completely intermediate and professional level, but something in between. So yeah, and the shading actually can also be done in a different color, which is you can actually choose maybe a gray or maybe a red or something and try the shading. I mean, I've not tried it personally on anything I've done and shown on YouTube on this channel, but I've actually tried it for different illustrations I've done in the past. I mean, like, just to get an idea as to what it would look like to shade in a different color. And so far I like how this turns out, because it kind of gets the nice shadow going for the illustration that you're doing. And there's not a whole lot of guesswork that goes on. I mean, like, the only thing that you would have to play around is with the opacity, and that's pretty much, it's up to you. I mean, like, you can take it all the way down to 30, maybe even 20%, and then you can take it as high as 50, but anything past 50, it just kind of looks like a blurry, or it looks way too dark. So I think 50 is kind of like my cutoff point. I don't go anything above 50. And then that's the same thing, the same process I follow for the highlights. And yeah, I mean, like, this part pretty much is just all trial and error. If you do something that you like, stick with it and keep going. But if you try something new and you like that, then, by all means, try that as well. Because there's no right way or wrong way to color a shape or color a illustration. I mean, there's so many different techniques. You might learn something new from another artist, or you might see something that you like on Google or maybe Pinterest. And sometimes that's what I do. Like, when I'm not making my videos, I'll just browse through Pinterest and look at different illustrations that other artists have done and just try to decode it in the aspect of seeing what is it that they did for that illustration and how they got that look. And you just try it, and if you come close to what they have done or you're able to duplicate it in your style, that's good. And if you don't, I mean, you can just keep trying till you get the look that you're going for. There's no, again, as I said, there's no right or wrong way to shade or highlight. I mean, but if you're looking for realism and if you're looking for appropriate and correct shadows, I think the best way to do it is if you have some sort of like a object in your house, and if you have your desk lamp, just keep the object under that and see how the shadows and the lights hit, and you can use that as a real life teaching experience. The fun part about art, or just in general, if you're making any sort of an illustration, is there's no right or wrong way to actually do anything. I mean, it's pretty much how you process it and how you move forward. I mean, now when you think about traditional art, that's a whole different story, because there, if you use a pencil way too hard on a piece of paper, and if you feel like the line that you just made is incorrect, and if you go ahead and erase it, you'll actually still see the indent in the paper. So there's no complete way to actually erase that out. So it's all about learning something new every day, and then correcting something or phasing it out from anything that you illustrate or draw in the future. So that's pretty much how I've taught myself how to get good at art over the years. And just having conversations with my grandfather when he was alive, because he used to do oil painting, and it was just kind of cool to watch him create his different artwork that he did over the years. And I believe he had done a picture of my uncle, or my late uncle, and it was all done in oil paint, and it was kind of really cool to look at it because it looked really realistic. And I was like, I don't know if I'd ever be able to get to that kind of realistic level of painting, but it was kind of cool to enjoy the process, and not enjoy the process, but actually look at what he had done over the years. And it was really cool to have some good conversations with him about art and just in general about painting and all that. So now here for the highlights, I kind of tried white, but as you can see, as I'm playing around with the opacity, and it kind of didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, or you could barely see it. So I kind of switched it to this blue, and this was a darker shade of blue. So what I did was I changed out the opacity to about I want to say 70%, and kind of just went ahead and just started following the artwork around. I mean, I don't end up doing the entire highlights in this video. I mean, I'm just going to show you some part of it because it's kind of boring in the aspect of, because all I'm doing is just these blue lines. And once again, that's totally up to you on how you want your illustration to turn out. This is what I'm doing, and you can try it, and you can even try it in a different color and just play around with the opacity to see what you like and what you don't like. And I don't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to highlights and drawing stuff with highlights. Is like as I said, I just practice and see how everything turns out. or the illustration that I've done in the past, how they look. And if there's something that I like, I keep at it. If not, I try something different and go along with that. Alrighty people, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I hope y'all have had fun following along and drawing with me. And also, let me know what y'all think about the videos that I have put up until now. So, till the next time guys, stay safe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye for now.